Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Sibling Trap podcast. Today is a very special occasion. First time in the history of this is our 19th episode, I think. We have our first guest on today. Barry has chosen a lovely lady to come and chat with us, and she's become a friend of mine as well. So that's really special. Barry, do you want to share who this lovely lady is and why you decided to invite her on?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Elizabeth. Me and Elizabeth have been friends for what, 8 years, 9 years, 8 years. I mean,
That's
since like
crazy.
2015 ish. So yeah,
Yeah.
about 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Um, where did we meet? We actually met when I worked at Lamont Brands. So when I was doing marketing and apparel. Also, I kind of got you into like the gun scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Introduce you to like Bo. I know you train with Bo. He's my chief firearms instructor for Viper Weapons, and
Love him.
yeah, yeah, and we've been good friends since. Had a little time away from each other. She's, I guess back in my life now, right? We'll
Yep.
say that. Do you want
And
to
Yeah.
talk about yourself a little bit?
I sure. I think originally we came into contact for like air show tickets. So we both have like a passion for flying, and I
I
think that it was
forgot about that actually.
air show is what kind of brought like I think our circles kind of hung out, and that's what kind of made the connection. I don't really have anything to share specifically about me except for yeah, I've been around since before little Barry's been around. So however very long time, but we do
Yeah.
as always come back together, and yeah, this is where we're
That's
at.
nice. And I'm grateful that you're here, that you were brave enough to come on, because not everyone is someone that can be on Zoom and talk about things that can be uncomfortable to other people. So, Barry, why did you want to have her on?
So I honestly it was because like we took the attachment style quiz, and she was like the first one that I noticed was a secure attachment style, and at the time the three of us were different attachment styles, which we'll get into
Yeah,
a little bit later.
bombshell.
Yeah, so her being a secure attachment style, I think you and I were talking one day and we were like, man, if we ever find a secure attachment person, we'll bring them on and talk about the different points of view. So that's kind of like the narrative of the episode today. So
Yeah, we kind of put like a little PSA, like, hey, if anyone's an attachment, secure attachment style, whoever listens to the podcast, let us know. And then here we are. Wow,
yeah.
full circle
Great.
moment.
So I don't remember, was it you that shared the quiz that we took, or was it Katie? I don't remember. I Or was it me? I don't remember. Maybe it was me. I
There was a
found an
quiz.
attachment style quiz,
It
yeah.
was a quiz,
Okay.
yeah.
And I sent it out to people, and I think Elizabeth was, the first one to reply, and then you were as well. Before you were avoidance, right, Katie? That's what you
Well,
originally had gotten.
so I never took the quiz because I thought I knew what I was. Fun fact. I thought I was disorganized, and I was like, well, this is a waste of time. I already know what I am. Like, why the fuck would I take a quiz? A stupid fucking quiz. Um, so I thought I was disorganized, which is like a combination of different styles together. Um, but I took it for the first time yesterday.
Okay.
And do you want me to share what it said?
Yeah, go ahead. Drop the
It
bomb.
said I was a secure attachment style. I was like, oh my God. I seriously was like about to get out of my car and like jump for joy. It was such a celebratory moment for me, which was really interesting. I feel like, yeah, maybe my healing is paying off.
All right, so do we want to jump into the questions? So basically, my idea is we will go over the questions and then we'll see the answers. Most of them, I want to say the first few are yes or no questions, and then the rest are all true false. So like Katie
I
was
mean,
saying before, it would be a lot better if there was a third option, like a maybe or in between true and false,
Sometimes.
or sometimes, yeah, or slightly agree or whatever, like a different set of
or like a
questions,
number
but
scale. Like, how often do you
one to
experience
five,
this?
yeah.
I should have
Um,
made the
Strongly
fucking quiz.
agree.
but I think, like I was saying, I think it just makes it more black and white, a little bit easier to categorize what attachment style you fall into based on the quiz. So, but we'll
Right.
get into how we feel about each one of these questions. And I think if you do not feel true or false, like go ahead and tell us, So
Oh, I
Are you
will.
ready?
Don't you worry.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. Miss Opinionated. I
Oh,
love your
yes.
lipstick, by the way. Looks great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm trying to record a TikTok while we. It's fine. Um,
Oh,
we got to get the
multitasking.
B-roll. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I would skip like the, are you in a relationship? Because that doesn't fucking matter. But like the true false ones, just head on it.
Okay, well, it's just the first two that ask about relationship, which obviously relationship status does mean something, but whatever. We'll skip it.
Skipping it.
Okay.
Pass that.
All right, so the first question is I can be very emotionally present with others, friends, family, partners, strangers, but it takes me a while to build trust and share vulnerable things about myself.
And
Who
what did
wants
you
to go
say for that?
first? I guess I'll go first. Okay, gosh. Um, I'm pretty sure I put false for this one just
Mm-hmm.
because I have an issue being vulnerable. And I think that's a now thing. I want to say back when I originally took it, whatever, a couple months ago, I put true because
Okay.
I do feel emotionally present with others. Like I can be emotional. I just don't want to anymore. And
Valid.
like I also told you, I retook the quiz kind of in the scripting mindset of what I would like to be or
Mm-hmm.
where I see myself as the healed version. And I also came out secure. So yeah, I was pretty excited about that. But back to the question, to build trust and share vulnerable things about myself, I put false because I don't see myself capable of doing that in the season that I'm in.
So this is what is like really interesting because of who I've been online for 8 years. Like I always share things. I'm always very vulnerable and open book. So like that, I don't have an issue with that at all. Like I'm just like straight out the gate, like, so I'm getting divorced and da 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 and da da da. And like I'm totally fine with that. I do it every day. So that's why I was like, oh, is I forgot that that was an issue for
That
people.
thing. Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I'm the same as you, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. I have no problem. This is who I am.
Yeah. But like other people, I can tell that like, it takes them a long time to warm up to, being comfortable with that.
I
Because
mean,
it's like trusting other people with your story.
Hmm.
yeah, and being on the podcast and you and I starting the podcast has really pulled me out of this show, I feel. That's why I'm saying like I honestly
Yeah.
I could change my answer back and forth. And I wish there was like a sometimes, like you're
Sometimes,
right,
yeah.
right in between. Because I really have to think about what I would share and how I would share it and how it's going to be accepted or received by whatever audience or if it's like a significant other. It's just tough for me to like I still want to pull back. I still want to keep the reservation. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can still feel that inside of me. So that's where I'm saying I would be in the middle. But this is a great one. It says I often put other people in my life on a big pedestal, partner, friends, and family.
Mm.
What did you put?
I put true.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another question that kind of goes deeper into it, but I have a tendency of putting others before me. Obviously, we are closet people pleasers and we're trying to break that habit and it's just something that is
So
part of who we are.
I think I'm slightly different about that though, because while I can put someone on a pedestal and like, rah rah all day long, I'm always going to put myself first because, oh, this is going to be deep. Because I feel like other people haven't put me first. So now I'm like, okay, like I'm going to focus on me and then whatever's left, I'm going to focus on you. But I can still like completely be your biggest fan at the same time. So that's a,
See, and I agree with that. And it's hard as a mother because you do pour into everyone else. That's what I'm doing this year is focusing on me and pouring into my cup.
yeah.
So I don't usually put people on a pedestal. My kids, of course, are everything. They're always there. But other relationships, no, I will cheer for everyone. Everyone is good until proven otherwise. No one is above anyone else.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't. The only people on the pedestal is my children. So that's a sometimes for me. Depends on who
That's,
you are. I
yeah.
can put someone on a pedestal, absolutely. If I'm in that environment, like you're saying, I'm never put first as the mom in anything. So if I have that, then absolutely you would be there. It
Mm-hmm.
would just depend on the situation, but normally no. On a
That's a
normal
good
day,
point.
no one's on a pedestal.
Yeah, nobody's putting me on a pedestal either, but
Oh, we put you on a pedestal.
well, sometimes.
I saw this TikTok the other day that this guy went up to his laundry pile. It was like all, I don't know if it was clean or dirty. He's like, it's okay, laundry. No one's doing me either. And so I commented, I was like, I finally felt really bad for this sorry motherfucker. And I did the laundry, but still, no one's doing me. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure I posted that like a month ago. It
Oh,
was
did you?
great.
It must be
Yeah,
circulating because I saw it somewhere
like
else. And I was like, yeah.
I've seen it with
it's
dishes
hilarious.
too.
Ah, fucking
I love
dishes.
dishes. I hate dishes.
I
So bad.
love dishes. See, we're all different. I love doing the dishes. I did the dishes this morning, and there was only a few in there, but I was like,
You love
I love
doing
it.
dishes.
Yeah,
Is it
it's like
therapeutic?
therapeutic. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, Jinx.
Yeah. Twinergy.
Yeah, no, I love doing the dishes because it I mean it's like those little accomplishments that I like to do, little wins,
But do
little
you
tasks
watch
that.
while you do dishes? Because like that's the only way I can do it. I'm like, I have to put on Gilmore Girls and like get in my zone.
Girls.
You
No,
know?
I usually put like my laptop on the counter and listen to music, or put the AirPods in, listen to music.
Okay.
I don't watch. I can't multitask like that. If I'm washing the dishes, I'm like doing that, and like I'll get distracted and then
Miss a
leave the
spot.
water running. Yeah, well, I
Is,
mean,
is
I have a
that like
dishwasher, but whatever.
the men and women difference? There's the multitasking and the
Yeah.
this is a task. But I think too, you can see that it's dirty and then you can complete it and you feel good about maybe that's what you like about it,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
actually doing the
Well, I
dishes,
mean, maybe it's
right?
yeah,
Both.
accomplishing it and
Do
feeling
you
better
like
after,
scrubbing dishes?
but no, I really do. I don't know why. I like and it's weird because I like it when they're really dirty and then when they're like really clean. I just like I don't understand what it
Maybe you
is.
need to like go
It's
into
just
car detailing or something. Like I think that
uh
that would be really satisfying.
I mean, I've never done that like for a living, but I don't know. There's different types of like it's it's hard to explain, but there's different types of things. Like it's like playing Tetris, right? Like you're like filling in all the boxes, like getting it perfect. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just a perfectionist in
Loading
a
the
way.
dishwasher?
Yeah, yes,
Do you
yeah,
feel
like that.
awkward now that
Yeah,
we've like
can
put
see
you on the
that.
spot now?
a little bit, but it's okay.
I
I'm used
understand
to
the
it.
Tetris thing.
Yeah,
It makes sense. Fit as much as you can and
I don't know. It's just it's easy work and it's rewarding. That's how I see it. But
Okay.
okay, what a tangent.
Right. It's okay. You know what?
We
Okay.
could probably do a whole episode
dishes.
on work. Yeah, just the little things that make you feel better every day. Like the little tasks like that. Like I like cleaning. I like cleaning my apartment. Like I cleaned my apartment this morning, and it just looks great, and I feel better knowing that
Can
it's
you like
clean.
give me some of that? Because I maybe like once I'm on my own and not living with my ex, I will enjoy the act of cleaning. But I don't have that gene. Thanks, Dad. What the fuck?
As a mother, I also don't have that gene. It's out of necessity. If I don't do it, literally no one will do
Mm,
it. So maybe it's more literally a chore for me and it takes away from
not
other.
fun.
No.
No.
But if I had this set up, I would be fine with
I
the
mean,
dishes.
I'll just fly to Wisconsin, clean your house for you.
That's what
It'll
I'm
make me feel
saying.
better.
And
But
then you
wait,
can go to the hockey game.
It'll make both of us feel better. How
yeah.
about that?
But I'm gonna
There.
come too so I can see the snow. I won't help with any other. I'll just be in the snow.
Well, you got to be ready. Drop of a dime, you know? Be like, oh, it's coming. You got to come because we
Jeez.
don't know.
Stay strapped. Stay ready.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So the next question.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's okay. This
Okay.
we're having fun.
It's part of it.
Yeah. So the question is, I feel naturally comfortable and safe expressing my feelings and needs to loved ones. I put
That
true.
one's changed for me. I used to be no because I felt like my feelings weren't respected or validated or I wasn't met with consideration. But now I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you think about my feelings. Like this is how I feel and you just need to, whether you listen to it or not, like I need to voice it.
I feel like I don't know. I'm always trying to express how I feel. It's just kind of who I am. I'm never really I'm not scared of expressing that. Whereas like it's kind of tough being vulnerable, but
Mm-hmm.
like I'm okay with like if it's a loved one, then obviously that person's been in my life long enough to where I feel comfortable being vulnerable around them like you. Like I'm not afraid to express how I feel to you. But when it comes to like strangers or people that I don't really know a whole lot, like then it's kind of where I draw the line, I think.
I
or
don't
somebody
believe
that
you.
I'm getting to know. That's rude.
No, okay, but like there are other uh people that would be considered
Jeez,
family or loved ones that I
I
don't
know.
think you feel safe uh speaking your feelings to them.
Defining a loved one. We need to do that
Oof.
first. So a
Yeah.
loved one is somebody that I don't have any issues with, and I'm not in like a tiff battle or
Like there's good energy from
confused.
both.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's a connection. Like if we're sharing a loving connection, you're a loved one to me, right? So I can count them on one hand right now. It's not a big number, and the people that have been loved ones in my life that are no longer really there, I don't consider them. I'm not categorizing them, but I am at the same time. I just don't. I don't feel comfortable being vulnerable with those people. But like I said, I don't see them as loved ones anymore. They might be family, but you can't pick your family, right? You can pick your loved ones. I feel like that's a different.
Okay.
Is it
So
not the same? Is it the same? I don't know. Help me.
well, no, I see where you're coming from. This is why there needs to be a third option, like sometimes or maybe. But have you always felt safe in relationships, like with a partner, sharing about your feelings? Or do you feel like over time it's just like, why do we, I'm not even gonna bother because I know that they're not gonna get it or understand.
Well, see, that's where I have the issue.
Yeah.
Like with the attachment issue, the anxious attachment, I still feel like I need to share how I feel. Do
Okay.
you see what I mean? Like I feel like, and this is just from my experience, but whenever we get to the point where it's like that, like rough or toxic or whatever, I don't close off my emotions. Like I feel like I end up starting to overshare, honestly. Like I feel like I'm
Mm.
constantly expressing
Like a
how I feel.
panic.
Yeah, like if I don't tell her how I feel, she's not going to know. So then I do it too much, probably, honestly. That's
Uh, no,
Is this a is this a Bash Berry session?
no, I'm
I'm
just,
just kidding.
it's fascinating. That's all. It's
Right,
fascinating.
so you're different, right? So whereas like I'm oversharing, you're pulling back and you're closing yourself off.
See, like normally,
How do you
like
feel?
if I see a problem or I'm unhappy or something, like I'll voice it and then I close off. Because I'm like,
Right.
okay, like I've said my piece and like what you do with that is your business. But like now I can breathe easier because I know that it's off of my chest.
I feel like I'm the same way. It's kind of earned, and
Hmm.
then once I give it, if, depending on how you handle that, is how I'm going to proceed. I'm not going to
Yeah.
keep sharing those parts of me if you're not valuing them and using them to progress whatever the situation is moving forward. And if you don't, then that's on you. I've shared my
Hmm.
perspective and where I'm at, and it's up to the other person to
Meet you,
meet me, don't meet me, whatever that other person wants to do, it's on them. Yeah, exactly. Peace.
which is a good one.
I need to I need to
We're
adopt
getting
some of
there.
these. Yeah, no, the issue is that like when somebody doesn't receive it the way that I intend it, that's when I'm like, well,
Try a
maybe I
different angle.
should do it again, but a
Yeah.
different
Change
way.
it,
Yeah,
right?
like right, exactly. So I'll adjust my approach ever so slightly and see if that works, and then it's like, okay, well, that didn't work either. So, it's tough. It's tough to
It's
deal with
exhausting.
because it is absolutely because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to express how I feel, and you can't control how somebody's going to receive somebody like or something that you're trying to express. And not only that, it's really hard because you can't control that, but at the same time, like you don't know what that person's thinking either, especially if they're not communicating back. If they're
Hmm.
not communicating in return or expressing how they feel, or if they're just shut off completely, then it's like, well, what do I do?
And you don't know where you stand.
Yeah,
You give them space and be like, let's circle back tomorrow. Got to get uncomfy a little bit.
yeah. Well, usually that's the case. Next question.
Love you.
Yeah, I know. All right, so the next question is: I feel very upset when others infringe on my need for space or time alone.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God.
Jeez.
Like, I don't want anyone coming into my space.
1000%. This is my
I'm just gonna
area.
leave y'all here. I'm gonna go. I'm completely opposite. If somebody infringes, I don't see it as an issue. I'm like, okay,
Welcome it.
it's not really welcoming. It's more like I understand. Like if okay, let's say me and my partner are doing our own things, our own hobbies, but we're in the same space or whatever, and I'm playing games and she's like, "Hey, come watch this TV show with me, or do you want to watch a movie?" I'll immediately be like, "Yeah, sure." And I'll just not do what I'm doing anymore and do that. I don't know. I just feel comfortable.
Our faces.
I know y'all are like crazy. You think I'm crazy, but I'm
No,
No,
serious. Like
no.
or if
no.
I have plans and
You're just
But
like,
she
but
wants to
but
do something, I'll just be like, ah, whatever. I'll cancel my plans. I don't care. It just doesn't. See, it doesn't bother me though. That's the difference.
but
Yeah.
ugh.
no.
Okay, but that's the problem, Barry.
Just, I know it's a problem,
We are
Katie, but
not
it's not a
chameleons this
problem.
year.
I
Mm-mm.
didn't say I was gonna keep doing it. I'm just saying from my
Up until
experience.
now. Okay.
Yeah. But what's wrong with being a little understanding and being like, I would much rather be doing something with my partner than being alone.
Sometimes, not every time. Your mental health
God,
is important too,
sorry.
and your space
Go
to
away.
do what you need to do is important.
I know.
Like
I get
she's like,
it.
who's up?
No, no, no. You cannot abandon yourself and overextend yourself to always be pleasing the other person. You got to set the expectation like, hey, tonight, maybe later tonight, can we do this? But dropping it, whatever you're doing to go and please them, is going to set the expectation that you're always going to be that person. And then you're left doing nothing for yourself, which is not
And you take
okay.
advantage of it, and you're shrinking yourself down and your needs down.
Like, you matter.
You
Okay, I
matter.
get it, but like, what if I don't really care to do what I want to do? That's the difference. It's
Well, it
like
would
I
be a
just
sometimes thing.
okay, well, but even then, it just
What if
if it
someone called
happened
you on a
every
run?
day, if it happened every day, I would understand. Like I would be
Okay.
like, okay,
You
well,
start
no,
putting it on the
I need
calendar.
to do this, or I need to focus on this, or this is what I had planned, and I'm gonna follow through with it, whatever the case is. But I don't feel upset. I don't get upset by that. I don't get upset when somebody wants attention, and that's how I see that. I see it as them wanting my attention, and
Okay, I when I read the question, I took it as this is my time for me to do. Like you're saying, you're blocked out that time, and if it was important to you, then you hold those boundaries. Not just an everyday you're doing something, she's doing something, and y'all come in that space together. It's
right.
this is important to me from this time to this time. I'm going on my run, or from this time to this time, I have to do X, Y, Z. And then you drop that, even though that's super important, it holds an important space to you to be with her. It's not the everyday cutesy little let's spend time together, let's watch a
Yeah.
movie together.
Well,
It's more in the important. That's how I looked at the question. And when I have my alone time, it comes very. I don't infringe on it. That's my time. That's me time. Any other time, cool. Sit.
see,
Let's do all the things.
I mean, like, I get that. I do. I just, like I said, I just don't. I don't feel like I'd get upset at not having my alone time.
I think we need to have a 1 year reunion of this conversation and see how much you've grown.
I think it would be great.
Right?
I'll get
Put it
on
Okay,
on
the
the calendar.
calendar. It's at the same time.
Jinx.
Try to do your
Okay,
thing.
so next question. I think we beat that one up a little too much.
Okay, all right. I'll try to back off.
It's okay. No, I don't
Do
want
you
you to back
feel
off. I want you to help me.
You
Help
know
me
I
feel
give you tough
better.
love. It's okay.
Okay, well, let me just say this. Like, okay, so I like to run in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get called into work all the time. Am I supposed to shut work down and say, no, I need to go on my run? Like, it's kind of the same thing to me. I don't get upset when work needs me. I mean, why would I get upset if my partner wanted to spend time with me? I mean, maybe I'm just too flexible when it comes to people
I mean, is your
pleasing.
partner
Yeah.
paying you?
You bring up a solid point, but
If
no,
you want to do
obviously
that,
not.
then that's
No.
your business. But I'm just saying,
Okay,
it's not
all
paying your
right.
bills.
All right. Next question. Jeez.
Yes, go on.
This is so much fun, guys. I'm having a
Don't
great
you
time.
love this? We're loving it.
All right.
Emotionally beating you up is really fun. Go on.
We're searching our feelings on the podcast. All right. So the next question is I am willing to work through challenges in a relationship before suddenly trying to leave the relationship itself. I'm not going first.
Okay. Um, yeah, I definitely am more solution based. where I'm like, okay, well, if this wasn't working, like, let's try this. But at the same time, if the other person is not willing to explore those solutions, then I'm like, all right, that's it.
I have a problem of giving too many chances. This is the
Yeah.
problem. And then you revisit it and it's like, okay, wait, we just had this problem consistently for 3 years or whatever, in a long-term
Mm-hmm.
relationship. It's like, why is this not being done? And part of it's ADD and I forget, but I do like to take it head on. I'm very solution. I always tell my kids, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution, and
Mm-hmm.
let's figure out if it's like a legitimate solution or if it's not. And I do that in every relationship, not just with my kids.
Yeah, I mean, I give way too many
You
chances.
get
I
your
try too
Rolodex out. Like,
hard.
what else
Yeah,
is
I'm
next?
just yeah, I'm not the one that's gonna leave suddenly, which is crazy to me because I have been that person in the past. I gave a lot of chances for that relationship, but then I was like, okay, well, it's time. It's time to. It's become too toxic. It's time for me to jet, And I made my escape plan and I got out of it, and it happened more than once. I feel like that shaped me into like this person that just didn't care much for relationships. Not seeing the value in relationships anymore created something much worse.
And
So
the
now,
value of the work. Like, you're in this
right, yeah,
together, find a solution together.
exactly. And now I feel like, I mean, I answered it false, obviously, because I'm not trying to leave relationships anymore. I'm trying to maintain them. I'm trying to keep them in my life because I see the value in the work of making sure that it's not something that I just want to give up on. I don't give up easily anymore like I used to. Before I was very, I wouldn't say avoidant, but just a little less attached.
See,
So,
I don't give up easily either. But
but when
when
you get to
someone,
that line where it's like, what else can we do? There's probably not a lot of options. That's when you decide, or
no, when someone has given up on me,
oh, okay,
then I'm like,
oh,
no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Like
good.
that, I'm like, if you don't see my worth or like see why this is worth working on, then I'm done.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a reception, not a
Yeah.
perception. Okay.
Like, I can't
A
convince someone to
boundary.
stay with me.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I need to work on, or that I mean I have been working on because in the last couple experiences I've gotten to a point where it was like, okay, well you're clearly not interested or you're giving up, and I'm gonna go ahead and just
Call
draw
it.
that boundary now and say have a great life.
Mm-hmm.
But before I've made the mistake of not accepting no as an answer, not
Mm-hmm.
accepting that rejection, and thinking and it's so
This is
hard to
fun.
think about because there was so many mixed signals though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's tough. Because I know like
Confusion.
dude,
Mm-hmm.
it is incredibly like oh, it's frustrating.
If
It's
you
so
are left being
frustrating.
confused by where you stand, then it's not the one for you. We talked about this before.
Well, I know I should see the confusion as a hard no. And I'm seeing that now. Like obviously looking back at the mixed signals, but in the moment it's
Desperation.
hard. It's incredibly frustrating because you want to or I wanted to maintain the signals that I was getting of positivity. I wanted to constantly remind that person, "Hey, you still tell me you love me all the time. You still hug me. We still feel the love." But then there's the opposite side of the coin where it's like, well, you shut down when I try to talk to you, or you're constantly spending time with your friends and not me. You're constantly avoiding the issues we're having instead of working through them. And that's where I should have been like, well, okay, well, obviously that's rejection. That's not, you know, not the reception that I want.
I
So,
think that every day we just need to do like a flag check. Like, hey, what flags are out today? Am I looking at all the flags? The green, the 50,000 shades of red. But like not ignoring, not
yeah.
ignoring the bad stuff and only positivity,
Okay.
And healthy boundaries for
Hmm.
all of it.
Or
Some
just like
people,
text your sister and be like, hey, this is what's going on. I'd be like, dude, you need to get the
wait,
fuck out of there.
You're the soundboard for
of
everything.
course.
I'm always
I
I'm
know.
like, hey, I need a second opinion or a third or a fourth or a fifth, and I just go straight to you.
Wow, I'm really that far down the
I
line.
was
The
gonna
fifth.
say, you're just gonna out her like that.
No, I mean,
It's
I mean,
fine.
I trust your judgment. That's the difference, you know,
Yeah.
and you're able to see things through different light. That's what I meant by that. Like
Hmm.
I am a one track mind usually, and I see things, but like you can see things that I'm not obviously either paying attention to or I'm not, bringing
Hmm.
into the light. It's those rose colored glasses, dude. Like we have an issue.
Took them off. I ran them over with my car. We're done.
Yep. But you do the same thing too. Don't dime me out. I mean, when you have issues with certain things, you bring them to
Uh-huh.
me, and we're just able to judge things dispassionately. I feel like between you and I because we care about each other a lot.
True.
So there's two ways to that street. Rude. Okay.
I
Next
got you.
question. All right. I tend to be out of touch with my emotions quite frequently.
See, this one needs to be a sometimes. Like, how
Sometimes.
often are you out of touch?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
is it by choice?
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's the issue. I don't have that problem. I don't ever choose to be out of touch with my emotions. Right. I'm working on it. I mean, I have in the past. I mean, we talked about my military experience and
Hmm.
compartmentalizing. And since I've learned how, I mean, yes, it can be used for good, but it's detrimental to your emotional health. I feel like if you're constantly ignoring how you feel. But I mean, like I said, sometimes it helps. Sometimes it makes it easier because you have to deal with those tough emotions, but eventually you have to deal with them anyway. So I just don't feel like I like to be out of touch. I like to be in touch with my emotion and whatever emotion that is. It's tough though,
But
especially lately.
me, knowing you, loving you, sometimes you need
Motherfucker.
to shut. Are you a little snarky motherfucker over there? Okay,
He's feeling sassy.
I'm just saying. You need to sometimes shut off the emotions in order to get through the day.
Yeah, I get that. I do. But I look at it like, and this is the same mentality I've had on deployments is you can't stop time. So whether I'm feeling big emotions the entire day or not, I'm going to make it through the day. The day is going to come to an end. There's always going to be, I mean, there's not always tomorrow, but there's always going to be an end. Like everything passes. And I look
Yes.
at that through a different point of view. I look at it like, oh, okay, well, I feel like shit today and I'm sad and I'm going to be sad all day long probably. I can either shut my emotions off and just, you know, mediocre my way through the day, or I can just, kind of revel in that and feel it and just kind of hope that eventually start to feel better. And I do look at like different things. Like the other day, I was pretty upset, and my buddy Ed at work, he could tell I was upset. And I mean, he and I had a really deep conversation. We were at work, we're sitting at the front desk of our optics building, and we're having these deep conversations while people are walking in and out and just trying to like pause. And it helped. It helped a lot. So if I had just turned off my emotions and showed up to work, yeah, he might not have picked up on it. But then again, he might have. And I mean, we wouldn't have been able to have those conversations, and it made me feel a lot better. It did. And he's really good for me about that because him and I are kind of in the same season. He just went through a rough divorce. So we're both like we're feeding off of each other, and it helps.
So here's my thought on that. I know that I had said, like, in another episode, like, sometimes you need to just sit in it, right? And I feel like that I'm trying to, like, okay, so like Abercrombie and Fitch, that store where it's like super dark and the scent, right? Like, you can be outside of the store and still experience it, but not be like as overwhelmed and overstimulated as you are with your feelings, right? So it's like you can recognize that it's there, that you're feeling it, but also like you can just shut the doors and like distance yourself a little bit. Like, just step back a little bit. That's like what I do.
And I'm a mix of both. If I'm feeling big feelings, everyone around me will know because it's
Yeah.
usually one of them causing it. And they need to be aware. They're aware of
Yeah.
how they're making me feel and not to do it anymore. Or, and me to learn in that experience on how to handle it better. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, and I need to rein it in. And sometimes when it's appropriate, absolutely. But I, I want to go deeper. I want to figure out why I'm feeling these feelings. I want to fix it and move on because I can't have big feelings every single day for a month straight because I wouldn't be able to live. I wouldn't be able to do anything. So it's not that I would like stuff it down or kind of close the doors and hope that it passes. I will say, you know what, I need a minute, and I will dive deeper, figure out what is the root cause of this. Is it me? Is it did you trigger me? And I use that a lot. Like, hold on, I'm a little triggered because haven't always been secure. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. And whenever we looked at the test and I found out I was secure, I was like, what does this really mean? And I've done a lot of work to get where I'm at. And so if something does trigger me, I'm like, ooh, I don't like how that feels. Let me figure out why, and let's proceed with caution until I figure out and heal that and fix that on me. Because it's not necessarily someone else always. A lot of the time it's me, and it's something that someone has done to me that's triggering me either from my past or just, it feels heavy. That's what we say in my house. That feels a little heavy. Hold on, let me unpack it because I can't keep carrying around those heavy, big feelings 24/7. It's too much. I'm only one person. And so I want to know why, and I want to
Mm.
fix it, and I want to move on.
In the
Um,
moment, you do that. I usually have to like save it for later and then do it that day.
I do it right then, like right then. I don't care if
Mm.
I'm in the office and then I'm like, hold on a second, let me process this. Or that's going to have to wait. I'm driving or whatever. I'm going to process this later. You're not going to get a response from me right now. That's a lot for me to process. And I need time to process that because if not, I'm going to give you an answer or an emotion that's not
Hmm.
true to who I am. It's going to be an outburst. It's going to be, a knee jerk reaction to what you did. I need to process it. I need to chew on it a little bit. And then let's revisit it because
Yeah.
that's healthy too. You can't always just like have this outpouring of big feelings, but let people know, hey, I'm feeling this, and like I need a minute. And that's big for me and my journey I've been on because I'm used to shrinking myself small and making everyone else feel good and everyone else feel nice because I'm feeling a certain way. No, I'm the main character, and y'all are going to know it.
I
And
love
deal with
that.
it. And if you don't want to deal with it, don't be around me. Like that's me. That's who I am, and that's the journey I'm on since I was younger, and I realized these things were coming up, and I didn't have to follow, the patterns of my parents and their parents and all that. That I could be the one that breaks the chain and the cycle. So big feelings, big feel it out, get back to me, kind of thing.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
I love that you brought that up because that's how I am in, heated conversations. A lot of times there would be something that he wanted to talk about and he knew that it was gonna get me riled up and I'm like, I don't have an answer for you right now. Like, can we talk about this tomorrow? Because like I need to like process my thoughts and like a lot of times like text you about it because I don't want to say something that is going to be not portraying the person that I want to be. Like it's going to be snarky, it's going to be resentful. Like I want to carry myself in a way that I'm proud. And right now this isn't the time that I can talk about that. Anything to add to that, Barry?
Yeah, I'm thinking about a lot of my previous relationships where I was kind of like that, like your ex,
Mm-hmm.
where I want to deal with the emotions. So I like to process them as soon as I can. I'm the same way. And if I'm going through some big emotions, I've had the experience of people just tend to ignore me, where they
Mm-hmm.
see that I'm dealing with something and they're just like, okay, well, I'm going to leave you alone. And I wish that I had somebody that was a little more supportive and a little more understanding of, hey, you're going through something, let's talk it out now, versus, oh, I need all this space and I'm just going to leave you to it. Just because like I don't like leaving it for later. I'm not, I mean, that's crazy because like I wouldn't say that I'm not a procrastinator and I have procrastinated in the past, but when it comes to feeling things, like I said, I just have a tough time shutting that down and saying, oh, well, I'll just deal with those emotions later. So I like to process them in the moment. I feel like I definitely, I don't know, I connect with Elizabeth on this because, going through those big emotions, I like, yeah, obviously if I'm at work and I don't have the space to do it in, I will do it as soon as I get home from work, or I'll meditate as soon as I get home from work and really think about how those
Dive
emotions,
deeper.
yeah, how those emotions made me feel the rest of my day. A lot of times I'll show up to work upset. I'll be upset all day long and I can't really like say, "Oh, well, I'm not upset anymore." And when I get home, I finally have the time to dissect what was making me feel that way or why I was feeling that way and be able to learn from it. I think is the biggest thing is learning
Mm-hmm.
from those emotions. So,
It makes me
but
think of toxic positivity because you said something like, just pretend that you're not, I don't, it's not verbatim, like pretend that you're not sad or something. But like you
right.
can just say like, hey, I'm having an off day. Like I'm feeling like something's coming up for me. And like you can acknowledge that it's there, but also like you don't have to
Spill it
spill. Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and I find myself going through the motions a lot, especially at work. Some days I am feeling that way and I don't have the space or the time to deal with it. So I'll just kind of I'll be present, but I won't be because a lot of times I go internal. And that's the thing that I learned in the
Mm-hmm.
Marines is if you're dealing with something and it's tough, like I mean even on the marathon, me and Scott we joked the entire time we were like, "Oh, we're just going to be fucking internal because we're in pain. It's a
Yeah.
long fucking run and there's no real way to deal with it other than to get to the
Get
finish.
done.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
done. So, and that was a lot of issues that we had in the military. It's like on deployments, like you're there. There's no way you're getting out of there
Yeah.
until you leave and until you get, replaced by a new unit. So it's like internalizing, just being internal, like focusing on the daily tasks, focusing on what you need to do to survive and to make it to the next day. So, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of. I wouldn't say that I'm shutting off my emotions or I'm out of touch with them. It's more like they're still there. I'm still feeling them. I'm just not displaying that
You're
I'm
Yeah.
feeling.
acknowledging
Yeah.
them, yeah,
Yeah.
that they're
So,
there.
You're masking.
I think going back to the
masking.
partner, it's not that you need someone to do certain you need someone to say, "Hey, how can I help you unpack this? How can I help you process this?" And it will look different every time depending on the situation, depending on the feelings you're feeling, and your needs will change depending on that situation. And so
Mm-hmm.
being able to communicate, "Hey, I really do just need to be left alone. Like I need to feel this. I've acknowledged that I have this and it's me and I need time space, that's fine. But if you need something from your partner and you need them help and it is in a situation or a conflict with them, you need their help with that, then that's how you can healthily communicate, is that a word, that that's what you need, and you need a partner that is receiving that, and is able
Mm-hmm.
to meet you there. And if it's just holding your hair, then let them, and that's the only way that they're capable of helping you. But having that support is big when you need them there.
Yeah. How can I support you and how can I help? Like those are two questions
Couple
that,
things, yeah.
damn, buy me a bouquet of flowers. Like that is so meaningful to me.
And
Yes.
that actually ties us right into the next question. I am very attuned to others' needs and often put them before my own and resent it later.
Mm.
Sometimes, as a
I
mother.
I put false
Oh,
just
my kids,
because
yeah.
Yeah.
the reason why I put false, and I'm pretty sure I put false both times I took it, is because I don't want to be resentful to what other people need. People need your help from time to time, and I feel like even if I put them before my own needs, that's a choice that I'm making. So why would I
Wouldn't resent
resent?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why would I
it's like a
resent
two
somebody?
part for
Because
you.
they don't do it for you.
Yeah.
Well, even if they're not doing it for me, that why change who I am because they're not? And that's just how I feel. I don't. I
You're
know,
such a
like we're
kind
different.
human.
And that's
Son of
where
a
I say
bitch.
sometimes, because it is sometimes you do these things because it's who you are and you like to help people. But when they don't do it, you're like, okay, I'd like to help people, but the fact that how you're receiving it is, I resent doing those things for you. I did it in the moment because I did it from a true spot of who I am.
Yeah.
Now, based on your reaction to me doing these things, it feels heavy and I don't like it and I don't want to do that. And resentment, I don't think is the first word that would come to my mind for that, but there would be some other negative feelings for that. I don't know if
Mhm.
resentment. That's why I'm like I'm in the gray on that one. Sometimes for sure for me.
And
I
it's
feel
like
like it
how,
would be. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, and like if it's like there's a pattern of it happening, that's when it's like, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Boom.
Yeah. See, I would still do it. I see. I wouldn't take. And this is where we're like completely different, but I don't think it like Elizabeth said, I don't think it's resentment. I feel like it's like a negative feeling against the rejection, right? You want to do things for people and you want that same thing to be reciprocated. And when it's not reciprocated, I guess it's more like feeling like you're not being valued the way that you should be.
Because you're doing it from a good spot in your heart and you're doing it just to do it. You don't have any ulterior motives, whatever. And so when that person doesn't receive it in the spot that it came from you, then that's hard to be like, why would I keep pouring this part of me out if you're not also feeling the joy and feeling, whatever I felt when I was doing this, making coffee or whatever. Like you genuinely get happy doing those things for people. And when they're like, oh, thanks, don't drink it and push it aside, it makes you rethink like maybe I'm not going to do that anymore just because I was so excited to do this for you and you're not excited with me.
I like the coffee reference. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean that makes a lot of sense. And if I mean it ties right into like venting about your day, right? So if you come home and your partner wants to vent to you about their day and you listen and then you turn around and vent and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to hear this," and like, "Oh, I'm busy or I got something to do," and they don't give you that same amount of time, like I would see like, okay, well next time I'm not going to listen to you when you vent. But that's the thing. It's like I don't feel like I would do that. I feel like I would just be like, "Oh, okay, they're busy, all right," and then I'd fuck off and do my thing. But the next day if they still needed to vent, I would still be there for them. And that's, I mean, obviously I need a boundary there where it's like if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to listen to you kind of thing.
But in a healthy way.
But yeah, sure. I think I would always still try to be there for that person, and that's my problem.
That
Not,
makes me think that like unconditional love is not actually a thing.
but that's how I look at it. I mean, like unconditionally, I want to be there for somebody, but
Right.
if they're not there for me, I mean, I wouldn't put a condition on it. I wouldn't be like, okay, well, you're not doing this for me, so I'm gonna stop doing it for you. I feel like that's just not something that I would do. I don't know. I'm always trying. Yeah, like you said, I'm too nice. Maybe that's what the problem is. I'm just too nice. And I do this with friends. I've done this with friends in the past. Like my friends needed help moving, and then when it came time for me to fucking move, I'd be like, "Hey, will you help me move?" And then they don't, and I'm like, "Okay, all
But then
right,
if they call you and ask you again, you're right there doing it
sure,
again.
yeah."
No. Oh my God.
Yes, I know no, but I would
No.
be there because I'm
My
just
head
that
says
friend.
no.
I'm
Yeah.
that person that's like if somebody needs me, I will be there for them regardless of how
But I
they treat
think
me.
I think that you are that way because um you didn't feel like you oh, this is gonna feel deep and I love you. Because you didn't have someone there for you when you needed someone when you were growing up. And if I was there, I would have been there.
I know,
But
but
so now
it's
you're
life.
always the person that's like there when someone needs something.
You're who you need to be.
Yeah, and I've been trying to
I hope
not
that
be
makes
that
sense.
way, honestly. I've pushed a lot of people out of my life and I've cut a lot of people off. And if they needed me, I would just be like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I'm busy and I can't."
I don't believe you.
It makes me feel bad. I have a couple of times,
I believe it.
but I've always tried to not do it in a destructive manner. Like I would say, "Hey, I have this going on and that's more important to me." I'm not saying you're not important, but I'm saying that
This isn't a
you're
priority.
just going to have to find
Hmm.
somebody else to help you. Or like I had a friend call me a few weeks ago and he wanted to vent to me and I was busy doing my thing and I was like, "Hey, look, I'm busy right now, but I'll call you after I get done." See? Doing it.
Okay.
That's
And I
nice.
still called him and he didn't answer. So I was like, "Okay, well, he didn't answer, so I don't have to worry about it."
Did you check up
But
on him again? Is he okay?
I mean, yeah, he's fine. But that's my point is like I put it off, like I didn't drop what I was doing to be
Growth.
there for him. Huh,
Jeez. You are capable of change.
I
Proud of
hate.
you.
All right. So yeah, I guess not feeling resentful about it though. That's the difference. Is I didn't resent the fact that I had a friend that couldn't help me move or made an excuse to not help me move. I just found somebody else,
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey man, like whatever. shit happens, life happens, whatever. I get it. And this is where the growth comes in. I'm just not putting my eggs in a basket where I know they're gonna fall out and break.
Yeah.
Mind the terrible expression, but
I'm
that's the
vegan, it's
truth. Is
fine.
it's yeah. I know.
There's other baskets.
All right. Well, I
Or
just
chickens.
it's not that I'm saying that I wouldn't hang out with him or I wouldn't be there to help him. I'm less inclined to do so
Or
these days.
less inclined to ask him for any favors.
And that too, yeah, I go to more reliable sources, and that's just a realization on my part. So,
Okay.
next question.
Yeah, go on.
All right. I constantly want to be emotionally closer to my partner. This can also apply to my close friendships or romantic interests. Obviously, I put Drew. We all
Oh,
probably put
okay.
Drew.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional closeness is very important. All right.
It's
Next
rare.
question.
it
It is
is.
rare. Well, it's rare to get it reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
All right. Next question. I am effective at compromising and communicating.
I'm a little stubborn. I can be a little stubborn, so compromise is not my favorite thing, but like if I see that it has to be done, then I'll do it. I'll
See,
just bitch
and
about it.
we're completely different because I'm like over compromising and over communicating all the time.
And I'm in the
You're
gray.
just you gotta oh, I'm not gonna say that. You gotta
Oh.
stop being a bendy straw and start being like a metal straw, okay?
Yeah.
Can I be like a metal crazy straw though that still has bends, but you can't bend it
Yeah,
yourself?
that's fine.
Okay,
You've bent in your own way. No one can bend you
Because
in
you
their way.
want
That's
to, not for
fine
someone
because you
else.
want to.
great.
Yes.
Okay, I like the
Yes.
analogy. It's great.
I'm in the gray. I try to see it from everybody's perspective. Again, that's me. Is it me? Is it them? Is it, where does the compromise? And am I the only one always compromising? Because
Hmm.
that's a boundary too. Like, I'm not going to be the only one jumping through the hoops and compromising every single time. I'm very understanding. I'm very flexible when needed. Um, because life is flexible. Life is not black and gray or black and white. There's gray in there.
Hmm.
And so you have to leave that space. And every situation is different. But I am in the gray on this one. I can do both. I can hold very strong boundaries
See,
when needed.
I mean, I like that you brought that up because I have a tendency of calling people out when they don't compromise. Like if I'm constantly compromising and I'm like, oh well, like I gave up all this shit to do this with you. Why aren't you reciprocating? I'll be that guy that's like, hey, like you got to compromise a little bit more, or else I'm gonna have that resentment later.
In relationships?
Relationships, yeah. And that's always been like kind of a hot point for me. A lot of arguments have stemmed from the fact that I call them out on the non-compromise thing. And it's like, yo, like it's not fair. Like I don't see the fairness in it. And it's caused a lot of problems in the past for me.
I'm
But do they
surprised
know
you said
in the
that.
moment that you're compromising, or do you only like bring it up in a fight? Like, well, I did all of this, you need to do that, or is it like, I'm making this compromise for you in the moment, I'm doing this, versus pocketing all of that and be like, okay, when you piss me off and you don't do this, I'm gonna bring up all of this shit for the past year that I've been compromising on, and now it's building up to this head, and I'm exploding on you.
No. Yeah, I would do it when it happens. Like I don't like to use it as ammo. It's not so I'm not like a ammunition based fighter when it comes to that. If it's something that I need to communicate, if it's something that I'm feeling, I'm gonna communicate. I'm gonna
In the
say, hey,
moment.
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, hey, like, oh, I gave up hanging out with my friends on Saturday so we could go to dinner, but I need you to do this or I want to do this and you're saying no. I would immediately say, well, that's not fair. That's not right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I'm trying to convince them to see my point of view, and in the past that's been an issue. Is like they only saw what they wanted to see and not see why are my emails popping up.
Or trying to convince someone, the wrong person, to spend that time with you. It
Yeah.
shouldn't always be, well, I've done all these compromises because I want to leave this space to spend time with you. That space should be there because it's a mutual thing. So it's multifaceted, that one. You shouldn't
Hmm.
be begging someone to constantly do this. And if you, as it comes up, hey, I made this decision, instead of doing this, I'm going to do this because I want to be with you, whatever, good. But if it's a text message you didn't get, that you replied and you never said, hey, well, I did this, until later in the evening when you're sitting alone like, well, I could have been doing these things and the other person didn't know, then that, obviously can lead into other things. But
All right. Next question. It is very difficult for me to set boundaries unless I am angry. So, tying right into that, using it as ammo thing, I can sometimes set excessive boundaries and push people away too dramatically out of anger.
See, like I will, if someone does something that I don't feel comfortable with or that I feel is inappropriate, I will call them out on it and be like, actually, I'm not okay with that. I'd rather we do this moving forward or, whatever it is. And then if they don't understand or respect it, then I push them away. Like I have no, I mean, like I've completely blocked out a sibling on all ways, because they don't respect my boundary. But I also declared I'm like, hey, this is how it has to be. And if it's not that way, then I need to distance myself.
Right. But that doesn't mean it's an excessive boundary, though. Like, if you don't put excessive boundaries, like on
No,
purpose, when you're angry, you're not like, okay,
no, no,
well,
no. No, it's
yeah.
like it's from
So
a
it's
calm
a
state.
healthy, yeah.
But if I am angry, like I force myself to pause and then think about how I want to proceed instead of immediately reacting instead of responding.
Right. I feel like, I mean, we all probably put false on this just because, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have set boundaries when I was upset, but that, I feel like that's necessary. If you're upset about something, you recognize that, hey, this needs to be a boundary that maybe you didn't see before.
yeah,
I just feel like I don't get excessive and push people away when I'm mad. When I'm mad or upset, I want to work through it. I feel like it's important, especially when you're upset about something, that you work through it to find the solution. Like Elizabeth said,
Mm-hmm.
don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. Like, how are we going to get through this? And I don't feel like that's ever been reciprocated in my partners. I feel like when I'm upset, they tend to either do more to make me even angrier, and then it's like this giant problem, or it's been like, oh well, you're mad, you just need to go calm down and we'll talk later. And it's like, nah, dude, like, oh, I'm just gonna keep being mad. Like, I'm not
it's
gonna
not going to
just
calm me
get over,
down.
yeah, I'm not just
Yeah.
gonna get over this. I'm sorry, but that's not how I work. I have to be able to express it and find the solution
Can
then
I
and
just
there.
say that I'm so glad that you and I have never had an argument because you'd be calling me and I would just be like, decline. I need some time.
So
I know.
I
I'm like, let's get this done.
when it comes to like you and I'm sure I would be able to respect your boundaries and respect your space. I When it comes to my partners, on the other hand, it's hard because
Yeah.
unless you and I are roommates, like we have our own space, and if I'm living with my significant other, which I've made the mistake of doing several times, I don't have that space to yeah, obviously I threw myself under the bus, but I don't have the space to give them. It's like, hey, now I have to fucking see you all night long and we're gonna go to bed mad at each other. Like, that's dumb to me. I'm
I'm gonna
like,
go for
hey,
a
let's
run. I'll
But
be
just
it's
be
back.
not
adults. I
healthy.
know it's not healthy, but it's
But it
but
happens.
that's another thing too, is in the past I've been the guy to be like, okay, well, I'm upset about this, like angry, I'm gonna leave, and that person would tell me I'm a piece of shit for leaving. So then I was like, whatever.
Red
I'm
flag.
out. So yeah, so there's a difference. Like, oh, hey, you're walking out on me, you're walking out on your family, and I would be like, okay, well, I need this time. So I've changed drastically from that to the next, and it just
When it goes back to feeling those feelings and saying, hey, this is what I need in this moment is to leave. When I come back, I will be cooled off. And that's what I need from you as my partner, is to understand that right now I'm already at this point. I need space because we are in this tiny house, apartment, whatever. I need that space for me. It's nothing against you. It's for me to cool off, for me to gather my thoughts so that we can have an adult conversation about this, address these issues, squash them, and move on. Because I'm not going to bed angry, but I do need some space because it's not authentic to who I am, of how I'm acting right now in this moment. And addressing that and bringing that up and be like, I'm not just, not fuck you, I'm leaving and never seeing you again. It's, I need to breathe. And we are on top of each other. I need a second.
Very.
Acknowledge, and then having a partner that understands that.
Have you ever heard of the zones of regulation? No. Okay. Ooh, let's do a mom lesson here.
Oh,
So
like,
my child is wired differently. And there's like the red zone where you're like combative and pissed off and not thinking. You're just like fight or flight mode, right? Which is normally in a fight. Yellow is like, this is starting to trigger me. I'm starting to feel my blood pressure go up, right? Like it's something's gonna happen if we don't proceed with caution. And then the green zone where it's like, okay, green means go, like solution time. So when you're in a fight, like with my kid, right? My kid's in a high red zone and they're really combative and kicking me or whatever the fuck, scratching me. They're so combative. um I need to step away and like both of us need to get into green before we can talk about it and come to a solution. And like I think that that's really beneficial for arguments and relationships too, because it's like nothing can happen in red. Like we need to just like pause and like come back to green and then, but that's just me maybe.
no, I mean, I get
I feel the
that.
same.
I definitely understand that. And I have had those situations in the past
Hmm.
where it's like, hey, I'm so mad about this. I need to not talk to you. I need to not see you, whatever the case is. And a lot of times, the biggest issue is that I've ignored it. I've ignored the fact that I'm mad. Like, because the other person would just be like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. And it would just keep adding up and just stacking. And I would just get so upset and I would just shut off. Like, I would go into black zone. Like, I would just be like, done.
Passive.
Yeah. Like, I'm so mad that I'm just like, that's all I can think about. And I'm just sitting there and it's going over and over and over in my head. And I'm just like I have to go internal at that point. And a lot of times, I mean, it's hard for me to just say, okay, well, we're going to come back to this. At that point, it's like, I don't want to fucking talk about it ever again. I don't want to deal with it ever again. And it's been incredibly toxic. And there's been other times where I've identified, like, with the other person, like, hey, we're both really upset about this. We need our space. We'll come back and
Calm
talk
down.
about it once we're calm.
Mhm.
And that's the thing too, is I a lot of times I've become more calm, and then we still weren't able to get through that. It would just bring us right back up to yellow and back up to red, and it was like constantly just going right through it. And that's when you have those, uncompromising moments with people where it's like, hey, this is a hard no for me,
You
and
need
they
to do a
still did
life
it.
audit and be like, is this actually working out?
Yeah, and that's the worst part, is because, at the time I didn't believe that it wasn't working out. I just believed that the other person was choosing for it to not work out. And it was a choice. And I was like, well, please just choose to try to make it work. And that
See
person
my
would be like,
worth.
Yeah, take it easy.
that person would be like, no, I don't see it. I don't want to do it. I can't get past it
Bye.
Where the fuck are all these red flags, man? Jesus.
in my past. Anyway,
Yeah.
next question. All right. So
Wait. Can you share the TikTok I sent you about the bulls?
the
Can you talk about
Bulls.
that?
Oh, like constantly always seeing red flags.
Like why bulls are always chasing red flags, and I never understood it. And then it's like, oh, I'm out here
Wow.
chasing red flags left and right. But we're not those people anymore, right? Okay.
No, we're not.
Proud of
As
you.
probably chasing red flags, but
All right, this episode was so juicy that honestly, we couldn't have cut anything out, which means that it ended up being 2 episodes. So this is part one. Thanks so much for listening to part one. Part two will be up next week. We can't wait to hear your feedback on it. And please feel free to pop into our DMs and tell us about how you would answer these questions. If this rings true for you or if it's triggering for you, like just come tell us because we want
Tell
to
us.
talk about it.
Tell
Mhm.
them.
All right.
Mary loves it.
Thanks so much for being here, Elizabeth. It's been a joy. Barry, you get a week off of the podcast.
love it.
So I'll be talking to you every day.
All right. So let me know if I need to help with edits, obviously. I'm here for
Uh, we'll see. All right.
that.
Well, have
Okay.
a good day. Get a nap, both of you. All right.
Okay.
Love
Love
you.
you. Okay,
Bye.
bye.